I trained consistently for 6 months. Here's what actually changed. Hello, loves. So I'm here to tell you about my 6 month fitness journey, which it actually started long before the 6 months, but I entered a program for 6 months that really helped me actually see better progress. So, where I started, first I have my outline here, so if I look down, that's why. I also have my measurements and my weight that I'm going to share with you guys too, and I'll put it up here on this screen so you can see. You can see before and after pictures and the measurements. So anyhow, before I started this program, I would do Pilates. Sometimes I do Pilates at home. I've tried Pilates classes. I've tried strength training at the gym, just learning from things I've seen on YouTube, things I've learned from a previous gym, things like that. And at first, I was seeing a lot of progress, but I reached a plateau. And I knew I had to do something if I wanted to see a real change in my body. I knew something had to change. So what I decided to do was reach out to a YouTuber you may know, Taliyah Joelle, and she has a fitness program that she does online. And I was comfortable working with her because, first of all, she was a Black woman. Not saying that people of other genders or races aren't as knowledgeable, but because she is a Black woman who's knowledgeable in fitness, I felt like she would understand my body better because Black women's bodies are, different from other races, just like any other races. Their body is different from other people's too. But I felt like as a Black woman, the way my body is built is different than other women that are not Black women. So that's why I chose to go to her. And I also watched her YouTube videos regularly. I could tell she was very knowledgeable. She's very fit. And she shows off her journey of before she reached her fitness goals and how she got there. And she's very open and honest. So I decided to go with her. And so I did the Taliyah Joelle fitness program, and it was very beneficial. My main concern with my body was, and still is, my stomach and my waist. I'm okay with the rest of my body, even though I would like to be more toned, but my main concern was my waist and my stomach. That was something that bothered me. I take medication that makes me gain more weight, and when I was younger I used to be very, very tiny, which I never want to be that tiny again, honestly. I was very, very small, and I took the medicine and it made me gain weight, and for a while I was able to balance it and keep it off, but I am now in my grown woman era, and I am now 30. So when you get in your late 20s, early 30s, it's not terrible, but sometimes it can be a little harder to keep the weight off. So that's when I started seeing changes that I wanted to change. With the medication and being older, it was going against me, so I knew I needed to do something drastic. I guess it's not drastic, but you know what I mean. What the program looked like, I'll go into that now. So what the program looked like for Taliyah Joelle's program, first I filled out a form online, is what I should say. On her website, I filled out a form, and then her assistant called me. And he was very nice, very friendly. And I ended up signing on that day. I remember that day I was actually watching my baby cousins, and they were so loud. But I had to go into another room and talk to the guy, and I ended up signing up. The price of the program depends on how long you decide to do it. I decided to do it for 6 months, as I said previously, so my price was based on that. On the app, so she gives you a nutrition plan. I decided to go with body recomposition. Wait, let me get to that. So I decided to go with body recomposition. I think there was 3 or 4 different things you could choose from. I think it was weight loss, body recomposition, weight gain, and maybe cut and bulk or something like that. I think there was 3 or 4 different programs you could do. I was thinking about weight loss, but I wanted to do body recomposition because it's more sustainable, and also I didn't want to be too small. I wanted to keep curves. I wanted to feel fit. So body recomposition is when you lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. And so I just like the look of how women's bodies look when they do body recomposition versus when they just lose weight. And that's why I decided on that program. Back to the app and what it looked like. So on the app, like I said, there was a nutrition plan. My plan was to eat a little over 1,900 calories. At first I thought that was too high because I was used to weight loss culture and going to dietitians and them telling me to eat super low calories. So I'm like, this is a lot. I think I'm gonna gain weight from this. And so I did it. It was still in a slight deficit for my weight. And I'll get to what happened to my weight measurements in a bit, but I did it. Sometimes I would have weeks where I was eating too much, and sometimes I would have weeks where I was eating too little, and sometimes I would have balance, which is fine. Sometimes that happens, but I want to be consistent in reaching that calorie goal. But even though I did have weeks like that, I still saw a major change. And then with the workouts, she has different stages that you go through, and how many stages depends on how long you do it. So you can commit to her for a long term if you want to. I just decided to only do 6 months because I felt like she taught me what I needed to know to keep going on my own. But I decided to do 6 months, so there were like four stages that I went through. So the first stage was for me to just get used to the gym, get used to the exercise equipment. I mean, I've had been to the gym before, but I didn't really know what I was doing. So I did that first part, got used to the gym, started building strength, which that was good. And then the second stage took me a little bit into weights, light weights, a little more difficult than the last program. It seemed like each stage it got a little more difficult. And then the third stage was when I was a little nervous because it started to get into real weight training, like real weight training with me using barbells and not just dumbbells. And I did have trouble with my form at first. And actually this girl at the gym was trying to help me because she was like, you're gonna mess up your back. But yeah, I was able to get that form and be able to do it and actually be able to do it, which was amazing because as a girl sometimes you can think, you know, strength training is for guys and, you know, heavy weights are for guys and you're going to get bulky and stuff. But that's not the case. You'd be surprised how strong you actually are and how much progress you can actually get, and it's not going to make you bulky. And then the fourth stage, I think I was kind of getting used to everything. I was happy with the workouts I was doing, and I was doing a lot better, getting used to the real weight training. And so she was going to give me a fifth stage, and I ended up, you know, leaving the program. The final week, it was on the fifth stage, but I decided to try a workout routine that I made based on what she had taught me. And so I started that last week of me being in her program. Some changes that I noticed changes in my strength. I can say that I'm a lot stronger now than I was before. I remember on the leg press I could only do like 80, and now I can do 160 doing the regular leg press, and if I'm doing calf raises on there, I can do 120. So I notice a difference in my strength, and I can up my weights doing Romanian deadlifts and bent over rows. I can do 40 now. I started off like at 20. And then with my hip thrust, I can do 50 now. I just did 50 the other day. As far as weight, not as how many I did, but I did the weight 50 and I was able to do it. So I've gotten a lot stronger. I've gotten better in my endurance, and I got better in my mindset because now I feel like I don't want to lose my progress, so that keeps me going back to the gym. I also like how it makes me feel. It makes me feel more confident in myself, and it gives me all the endorphins. It makes me happier, especially if I'm going through a hard time. It's very helpful. Going to the gym is just good for your mental health, and it's good for your physical health, of course, but it's also good for your mental health. So I saw a change in that too. Yeah, and it just gave me a newfound love for fitness. Going to the gym is a lot important. It's very important to me, more so than it was before, even though I thought it was important, but now it really is. It's like a lifestyle that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do this for a lifetime. So I want to share with you my measurements. This was February 19th, 2025. So this was way before I started the program, but this is when I started my fitness journey. So this is important because it's interesting to see how my weight and measurements have changed. So I'm gonna enter here what the measurements are in the pictures. So first, my weight was 157 pounds. My bust was 37.5 pounds. My arms was 10.5 to 11. My waist was 33.5, my hips was 40.5, and my thighs were 23.5. And these are measured in inches, by the way. And I'm 5'2", by the way. I'm 5'2". I'm pretty short. So those were my measurements. And so I'm going to tell you what my measurements were the last week I did her program. So this wasn't when I was trying my own workout plan that was based on her. This is the last time I did like a plan she laid out. So let me get to that. So actually, scratch that. I'm going to tell you what my measurements were at the beginning of the program. So let me do that first. So at the beginning of the program, my weight was 161.6. My chest was 37, so my chest had went down from me working out prior. My arms were 10.5. My waist was 33. My hip was 39, so it had went down a little bit from my workout journey previously from the program. My stomach was 37. My glutes were 39, and my thigh was 21.5. So when I started the program, there was more measurements than I was doing prior. And then I won't get into the other measurements before I started too, because there was a period when my measurements went down. But like I said, I reached a plateau and then things started going up again. So anyhow, that was the measurements I just gave you was when I first started the program. So I'm going to go to the last week that I was actually following what she gave me to do. Okay, so these are the measurements that I had the last week of the program where I actually followed her schedule. So my weight was 165.3, so my weight went up. My chest was 37, that didn't really change. My arm was 11, pretty much the same. My hip was 38. My waist was 32.5, so that went down quite a bit. My stomach was 35.5, so that went down quite a bit. My glutes was 38.5, and my thigh was 20. And these are inches, of course. So even though my weight went up, my measurements changed slightly, and I was happy with that. I was seeing a change in my waist and my stomach, my problem area. So for the past couple 2 or 3 weeks, I've been doing my own fitness program, and I just use workouts that she taught me that I like, that I wanted to continue doing. And so these are the measurements that I had today. So my weight went up again, which is probably because I had a day that I had some junk food and things while I was having a night in. So that's understandable. But these are my measurements. So my bust is still 37. My arms, 11 still. My waist went down to 32. And my stomach went down to 35. My glutes are 39. My hips are 38. And my thighs went up a little bit. I don't know. It might just been how I measured it, but it says 23.5, but I don't think that's quite right. But anyhow, my measurements went down again, my stomach and my waist, from what she taught me. But anyhow, I'm really grateful for the journey that she gave me. I would recommend her program to anyone who is looking to see change, whether your goal is weight loss or body recomposition or something else. I think she could definitely help you. It was a very encouraging program, and I think it's very beneficial. So now I want to go into some things that I learned from the program that has helped me. So I've learned a lot about how your body reacts to fitness and nutrition, especially nutrition. I stopped buying a lot of junk foods and things like that. I do buy snacks, but they're usually like protein bars or fruit or popcorn or Greek yogurt bars or something like that. Once in a while I have something sweet still, but it's not as frequent as I used to. Also, being in a calorie deficit is really important, but you don't want it to be really low. When I first started the program, like I said, I was in the mindset of weight loss culture, that my calories had to be really low. And she was like, no, your calories are way too low. You have to up your calories or you're going to lose your glutes, you're going to lose your muscles. You have to keep your deficit, a slight deficit, not a huge deficit. So I learned that, and that was a help too, because like I said, I thought I was going to not see change in my body if it was too high, but doing it and being consistent, I see there was change. I see that there is a difference between discipline and motivation. You're not always going to be motivated to go to the gym, but you have to be disciplined and do it anyway, just like you have to go to work anyway, just like you have to do chores anyway, you have to go to the gym. But most of the time, going to the gym is rewarding. And then my philosophy is like, what am I going to do anyway? Like, if I don't go to the gym, I'm just going to scroll on my phone or watch TV or sleep. Like, it's worth going to the gym rather than doing those things and actually seeing change. And I can do those things after I go to the gym. So yeah. Also, a big thing about nutrition, you want to make sure you have enough protein. This is also dependent on your goals. If your goals is just weight loss, you won't need as much protein as somebody who's doing body recomposition or trying to build muscle. So for me, I needed like 120 to 160 grams of protein or something like that. I did struggle getting really high protein amounts. I wanted to get like 150, but that wouldn't happen all the time. But as long as I was 120 or higher, that pretty much worked out for me. But yeah, depending on your goals, that's how you base your protein intake. Mine was to build muscle, so I needed more protein. So now I want to talk about how I feel about my body today. My body still is not where I want it to be. It's not perfect, but I am proud of it because I've gotten this far. I do see a change. I am more confident in my body. I don't feel as insecure as I once felt. Even in my before and after pictures, you can see in my before picture, I just looked so slouchy and insecure. And in my after photos now, I'm more upright and my posture is higher, and I just look more confident, and I feel more confident in my body. Even though it's not perfect yet, I know one day I'm going to get to where I need to be as long as I'm consistent. So now I want to talk about what my routine was before and what it is now. So before, she had me doing 4 workout days, which I still do for 4 workout days now, but it looks a little different. 3 to 4, I should say. So the 4 workout days that she had me doing was a push day, a pull day, a hamstrings and glutes day, and a quads and glutes day. So those are the 4 days I would do at the gym. I still do those things, but I have it a little differently now. I'll show you an example of my fitness plan over here that I made for myself. And yeah, so I try to do 3 to 4 days a week. I'm trying to consistently do 4 days a week again, but 3 to 4 days is where I've been at lately. It's just been more things going on now that it's been warmer outside, so I'm changing up my schedule so I stick to it better, and I think it's working out for the best. But anyhow, yeah, so that's what I'm doing now, and I'm confident that I'll be making big progress by summertime. Body recomposition is very slow, by the way, so I know I'm not going to see instant results of where I want to be, but I'm thinking within a year I'll probably get there. So yeah, that's my journey. So my advice to you if you are starting your fitness journey is to get assistance somehow, whether you go to fitness classes or get a personal trainer or go to a dietitian or anything that can help you get started so you can have the knowledge you need to go through this journey and get to where you need to be and not have to go through ups and downs like I did. And also, what I tell myself in the past is that you don't have to be anxious about your body. You can put in the work to get to where you need to be. Sometimes I would be really down about my body, especially because I had to be on the medication that I was on. And I would think I was stuck, that I'd never get anywhere. But when you put the work in and you're consistent, you can get to where you need to be. So if you feel like you're stuck and you just can't get your body where you need to be, like I said, get assistance and get the help you need. Go to a doctor if you need to, and just see what you need to do to get to where you need to be, because it is possible. Don't think it's impossible. It is possible. So this journey meant a lot to me. It just makes me happy to reflect on it. Yeah, it's amazing to see what the body can do, and I'm just grateful for my journey. I'm grateful for Taliyah, and I thank her so much for helping me. But we've reached the end to this video. I hope this was encouraging to someone who is watching, and I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time, loves. Bye.